Good morning, everyone. It's Lindsey Huddleston with SPS back again with another SPS Monday Motivation. Hope you had a great weekend. I had a great weekend spent with my daughter. We always have a good time. We finally got to see Superman. I give it a thumbs up. I know people was going in on it. I don't know. It may bring some opportunities for some other things that happen in the Superman DC universe, but that's here nor there. Summer League has concluded last night with the Charlotte Hornets winning the Summer League championship. That's right, 10 days of basketball that keep us tuned in. And Scotty Scheffler is still killing the game in golf. Got to watch him win the Open out there in Ireland, playing off the coast. Speaking of golf, going to have some golf going on Wednesday. We'll be over at College Field in Oakland for the Moneyball Pro. I'm looking forward to it. Who do we have this morning? Waking up. Am I able to see names? Let's hold on for a second. I'm trying to see my comments. Give me a second, folks. Yeah, Michelle, Mimi Watkins. I could have just guessed. Good morning, Michelle. How are you? Matter of fact, I saw your Facebook. Orlando. You guys were at Summer League. 60th birthday for Orlando Watkins. Shout out to O. So you guys were out there in the Summer League festivities in Vegas. Speaking of Vegas, my mother just got back from Vegas. She probably won't be on this morning because she came back late on the red eye after going to the fight. Hey, mom rolls dolo from state to state. Hey, I can't not be out here solo handling business because, Mom, I get it from my mama when you talk about that. But what is today's topic? Michelle, we're talking about overcoming the spirit of entitlement. Overcoming the spirit of entitlement. As always, you guys know, like clockwork, my Monday motivations are either ripped from the headlines or come from my personal experiences. I want to take it back to something I've been experiencing. We got 2 more weeks of the Moneyball Pro-Am. It's always been great having these young athletes come and showcase their abilities. Shout out to Desmond Ferguson Sr. for always putting something to great. And we were chilling on SPS Raw. I was talking to one of my players on Team SPS before the game got started. And that's right, SPS Row, and that plays a role what we're talking about. An investment that I've made with my business and the growth based on the support from you guys on this platform and supporting this community where I sit down with my daughter when she's with me, my intern, shout out to Gabby, as well as the players. This gives me an opportunity to interview the players and be forward facing. And it's a great time to do that. As I said, that was an investment. And I was sitting with one of my players, the young kid, maybe 7 or 8, came up, and there's a lot of autograph signing going on at the Moneyball Pro-Am, which is rightfully so because it's a great place to be. But as I was talking to the player, the young kid comes up and just hands him a paper and says, "Sign this." And I was like, hold on, young man. Ask, can you please sign this? And that signer said, man, if this kid is doing this now, what is his attitude going to be about athletes, as far as getting autographs or quote unquote celebrities? Or how does that play into so many things when you talk about the spirit of entitlement? And unfortunately, that same attitude kind of rolled over to some adults as it relates to what their expectation was when it came to SPS role and those type of things. So I said, yeah, it's time for me to be able to address this because overcoming the spirit of entitlement, because greatness is earned, it's not old. And I think we have to be reminded of that. The reality is this, folks. Most people get mad at you, not for what you've done to them, but for what you didn't do for them. I probably mentioned that recently. I heard Jay-Z say that a while ago. But that's what it comes down to. If you look back while somebody may have an issue with you, it's not what you did to them. It's not what you proactively or even subconsciously did to them. It's what you didn't do for them. And I think that's that spirit of entitlement that we all have to work to overcome. It reveals how entitlement can cloud judgment, relationships, and gratitude. Having the spirit of entitlement, folks, can cloud things in many, many ways. I think that's something we need to keep in mind. Oh, Michelle said she enjoyed the NBA Summer League. I know you enjoyed that being out there for sure. And Dwayne, what my buddy Dwayne say, good morning, good brother. Good morning to you as well, Dwayne Willie, representing all the way from childhood to now. So what is entitlement? Entitlement is defined as a belief that one is inherently deserving of privileges, recognition, special treatment without corresponding effort and merit. Oh, yeah. I mean, you get your ego stroked enough, you get to believe in the hype. And what happens is normally when we go through different phases in our life, Dwayne, when we grow, we take on a new job, different relationship or different phase in relationship, that entitlement can be very evident. From a psychological standpoint, it's defined in psychology as a component of narcissistic personality traits. I know that's a hot button term. We call someone a narcissist, but that entitlement plays into that. And as the source goes back to W.K. Benaki and Shelton, and the Journal of Personality Assessment. So we get real deep with it. Also, feeling good versus feeling old. We want to talk about those feelings and knowing the difference between the two. Confidence, now let's talk about confidence, is I believe in my ability because I prepared. I'm confident. Hey, I did the work. Michael Jordan said, hey, I felt confident because I did the work in practice. Now, the opposite of that would be the entitlement. I should have this just because of who I am. Do you know who I am? And I think in social settings, it's easy to get this idea of who you believe you are based on how people respond. But at the heart of it, when you come back to basic core values, sometimes that's not going to always be it. There's nothing wrong with feeling good about yourself. But when there's an expectation that outweighs the effort, that's when entitlement creeps in. You can't jump the line all the time. You can't be put in a special category all the time. You can't get things just because of who you are. I think that's something we have to look at, and that impacts what? Friendships. They owe me their support. Yeah, it would be nice if your friends supported you and rolled with you, but to say they owe you is not necessarily the case. Let's talk about being in the workspaces. I deserve a promotion just for showing up. Hey, it may be more to it than that. Well, you know it's more to it than that because it doesn't just go that way. You show up and you do that. It may be other things you may not necessarily want to do, but we can't say it just happens because. And finally, relationships. I'm entitled to their time or love. Hey, I can't help it. Michelle, hey, you took your man to Summer League for his 60th birthday. Hey, you didn't just say, oh, we've been together. It's your 60th, happy birthday. You knew he would love that. You took him there, and I saw y'all watch the Pistons and all that. That was the effort to say, hey, I'm going to be a part of you with that. Hey, I just want to highlight you for that. You know what I'm saying? Keep it going, right? And that entitlement, it turns that gratitude into resentment and that effort into expectation. I'll say that it turns gratitude into resentment and effort into expectation, right? Healthy identity versus inflated ego. And I think that's what it comes down to. Sometimes we let our ego get out of shape and get too big. And I think periodically we got to check our ego, myself included. When I went through this process of preparing this presentation, I had to work through some things. So, okay, where am I ego driven and where do I need to kind of work on checking that? Now, a healthy identity is that I know my worth, right? I know what I'm worth. Entitlement, everyone else should see it and act accordingly. That's not necessarily the case. And if you don't believe it, just go out here and try to live and try to make something happen and see why things don't happen the way you want. We call that everyday entitlement, folks. Everyday entitlement. We see it everywhere, right? Entitlement. Oh, we don't need the entitlement, right? And what else comes with that? Talk about being self-absorbed, that narcissist rage, bragging, that arrogance, envy. All these type of things come, and we all got to be mindful of it because it's going to inhibit us from getting the things we want and moving how we want to move or how we expect to move, right? Your self-worth should not be rooted in character, work ethic, and consistency. Excuse me, it should be. I knew I was saying that wrong as I was saying it. Your self-worth see you guys. You don't know what other aspects are happening in the other person's life, meaning that you can't take this attitude that I'm entitled to something and this should happen because this is how it is or this is how we used to do it. Are you taking into account what's happening right now? Hey, 2025 was a whole lot different than 2024, and 2024 was a whole lot different than just say 2020. And don't let me go back and say me and Dwayne Whitley going back to what, 1983, 84. Things are different. To have an expectation for each other based on what we experienced. Like, Dwayne, remember when I gave you my pencil? But I'll take it back. Dwayne, you were more likely to give somebody something. You were a very giving person. Isn't this something I can bring up that and go way back? Dwayne will be the one to give you a pencil and do something nice. But then don't mess around and say nothing crazy to Dwayne to get on your head. My point being is we still can't go back and try to hold people to that. I think accountability is very important, and entitlement is something that we have to watch for in all phases of our life going forward. I got a few things I want to ask you about this before we wrap up, right? Talk about people expect to owe you even when you've evolved. I made that reference to Dwayne Whitley, us going way back to McKinney Elementary School. Sometimes people expect to owe you and don't give you an opportunity to evolve. You got to check in with somebody. You got to say, hey, man, how's it going now? What you got going on? My brother Aaron Mays comes in and say, so true. Aaron Mays in the building, brother. I appreciate you, right? Also, too, we talk about your growth becomes a mirror. Okay. When you grow, sometimes that holds a mirror up to someone else. Says, damn, Lindsay done made this move, but I didn't. Damn, Michelle doing this with her husband, taking them out to summer league, but I didn't. Damn, Dwayne is always doing things with his family, but I didn't. Aaron is this guy. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes at no fault of your own. Because like I said, people get mad at you, and not for what you did to them, is what you didn't do for them. And in this case, that growth becomes a mirror. You can hold it up. Entitlement without investment. Hey, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. That's what I'm talking about. Entitlement without investment. People see you as you continue to move along, as you continue to evolve and continue to grow. And their thought is, hey, I should be able to go with you just because. But they didn't make the investment. And then sometimes, here's the killer, they may have thought they made an investment, but it wasn't to the quality or the degree that your expectation would be. That ain't the investment I needed, bro. That ain't what I needed. I needed something else, but you never put yourself in a position to do that, right? Also, too, boundaries feel like betrayal to people who benefited from no boundaries. Oh, man. When I wrote this, I said, man, this is going to be something. Boundaries feel like betrayal to people who benefited from no boundaries. You tell somebody, no, hold on. Oh, man, how you going to do me like that? It's just a boundary, man. I'm trying to manage this. And if you were less entitled in your thinking, and more into what's going on with you now, that's what the check-in is for. Hey, man, what you got going on? What you trying to do? Help me understand your vision. Because if you're genuinely there to help the person, you're going to tap in. That person, in many cases, probably go give you the feedback. Hey, man, this is where I'm going right now. Oh, that will make sense. But again, boundaries feel like betrayal to people who benefited from having no boundaries, right? It would require acknowledging your growth, which may remind them of their stagnation. That's another thing, too. People don't want to acknowledge something. You ever showed up somewhere that was something that was so obvious that was happening in your life? I mean, very obvious. Like you're there to get an award and that person can't congratulate you. Something so obvious. You got on something that you're wearing that's a reflection of the time and they don't acknowledge. I'm talking about something so obvious that their non-acknowledgement becomes weird. Now, they may say, oh, man, you know how I felt, or you know what it is. But I'm saying, reading that again, it will require to acknowledge your growth, which may remind them of their stagnation. Now, what can I say to everyone here to help us move forward? Look at it like this, folks. It's not personal, it's positional. Because we all should be positioning ourselves for what we want to do going next, our next move, or position ourselves for what peace of mind that we need to have in our life going forward. Also, it's not changing, I'm growing. And that growth deserves structure and respect. I think that's important for us to embody, to overcome the spirit of entitlement with other people. And even for yourself, recognizing some people, hey, man, they're not changing on you because that's the word they love to you. Oh, you didn't change. No, I'm growing. That's different, right? And that growth deserves structure and respect. This is what comes with that. And it's like, you know, you throw people off guard when you show up different on them and you've done something great in your life, whether it's going through a health issue where you've overcome some things and you're looking great, or something else that you've done, and it just really catches people off guard, and a lot of people aren't prepared to deal with it. People are welcome to grow with me, but not entitled to stay where I've moved on from. Hey, man, I'm not there no more. And I really don't owe you that much of an explanation, because if you're my friend, if you're my, my partner, or if you're just someone who's just open, you should be open to, oh, man, you got something going on now, man. Okay, I see. How I look going up to someone like a Desmond Ferguson Sr. and expecting that he's going to be on the same thing this year that he was a year ago. Or not even saying someone like Des, who's popular in the athletic community, someone who's just handling their business. How do I look going up to them saying, hey, man, why are you not still on what you used to be on? Because the whole point is that we all want to grow. So with that, so why do they take into account the work you've done? So why don't they take into account the work you've done? That's the spirit of entitlement too. People don't want to acknowledge the work that you've done to be where you are right now. And I think those are the things that are important. So what I did, I had to pose this question to myself as I was completing this presentation. I'll say this for you guys today. Ask yourself, am I taking an entitled approach to what I'm working on right now? And if so, is that impacting the outcome that I want? With that being said, guys, I won't keep you. We're going to wrap this thing up. I want you to go on and have a great day, have a great week, have a great month, have a great year, have a great life. We're coming out of this summer. That's been great. We're getting ready to go into some great things going into the fall and beyond. I want to wish you the best. Thanks for your support. See you in a minute. Peace.